Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Inkylesconvo. It's so great to be back, and it's so great to it's weird the week after you upload podcasts and that you're always nervous that I wonder how far it's going to grow, and then all of a sudden over the last 5 weeks we would say is that the podcast is just grew and grew subscribers, and that it's crazy to see, to be honest, and it's mental that it's crazy to see your baby working into a grown adult, is a cliche way of saying it. But anyway, we have today's guest. We have someone else that's more involved in football than I necessarily would say. A lot of people that we've had on the show, to an extent, obviously are. It's Curtis Rose. How you doing, mate?
Aye, good, mate. Just surviving, like I says to you. Hopefully this storm that's coming next couple of days is to blow me away. But aye, doing well, mate. How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I didn't actually know there was a storm coming.
Aye. Well, I work with St Mirren now, and they've got the air dome outside where they use for a lot of training and stuff like that. They're taking that down as a precaution in case it kind of blows down or gets damaged by the weather. So that's what we get told. The groundsman at St Mirren's quite good. We keep up to date with the weather and stuff, as you can imagine. So when stuff like that happens, it kind of affects my workload sometimes, but that's what happens. You live in Scotland, mate. Eh?
Yeah, I'd very relate to you on that one. 100% relate to you. Now, football. Before we get into your history and your past and what you're currently doing and things like that, what was the reason you wanted to get into football? Be involved in it rather than a player. You were involved in it, kind of behind the scenes, as they say.
See, to be honest, mate, it was just basically kind of always what I've spoke about or knew about, and you ask my girlfriend these days, she hates it. So it's talking about where I'm taking her for dinner, talking about football. Do you know what I mean? So, growing up, my dad he played stuff like that. He was the same. He was football daft, and just growing up, I just had no interest. Just even at school and stuff like that, I just didn't. You've probably seen yourself. You don't want to be there at the best of times, but at school, you kind of play football, your pals at the playground, kick a ball about and stuff like that. Not to say that I was bad in school or that, but I just wasn't interested in anything else. And it was kind of a social thing as well, because you grew up through school and everybody's got their own kind of things they like and interest and stuff like that. But all my pals were kind of the same, they like football and whatever. And then kind of growing up, when I started to realise I had to sort my life out, kind of way, that's age where kind of leaving school and stuff like that. I was at Dumbarton, and I was kind of on the fringes between the youth academy and the first team, stuff like that, and started thinking about what I wanted to do for a living going forward. At that time, when I was 16-year-old, I was in my last year of my youth contract and also working at McDonald's at the same time. So I was either going to be working football, I was either going to be playing football professionally and then the end of my last season at the youth academy level or working at McDonald's full time. So then going for that, I kind of put a plan in place to go to America and stuff like that, to go and play and do my scholarship. And then, but even at that age, even now, I'm not really sure where I'm hit. But I've got goals and ambitions, obviously, where I want to go. But even at that age, I was still obviously trying to figure out what exactly I wanted to do if it wasn't going to be football. So, but I think even when I kind of left school, I always knew I wanted to be a coach. I always knew I wanted to work in football full time one day. I think you had Derek on a few weeks ago as well. Derek Johnston from Rangers. Pretty similar to him. You just want to work in football full time because it's something that you're passionate about, and you know that you'll give that bit extra rather than working a full time job Monday to Friday that you know you're not really doing for yourself. And obviously, I just think it obviously like I say, it gives you a wee bit extra if you know what you're doing. If it's developing players or if it's developing young players, if it's working with guys if it's walking football fans and training, stuff like that, if you can help, if you can use football as a tool to develop other people as well, then it's good as well. That's where I'm at right now in terms of using it. But obviously, like I say, going forward, we've got obviously my own kind of plans and ambitions to keep developing as a coach and a player. Well, not as a player anymore, I'm getting a bit old for that. But as a coach, obviously, next 20, 30 years, I think I'm now starting my kind of coaching career in terms of professionally.
Good, yeah, good. Was your first? Am I right in saying is Reinfew? No, that's not right. Reverend. I don't know how you say that. That word. The limited as a lead coach. Am I right in saying that? Is it Reverend's view? The Reverend show?
No, Redfisher Leisure.
That's the
Redfisher
one.
Leisure.
Yeah. That's the one.
So again, that was while I was at school. Basically, like I say, is my kind of, when you get to the 5th and 6th year, you're obviously getting kind of pushed either to leave school and we'll get a apprenticeship or something like that, or kind of pushed in the direction where you're gonna have to try and get like kind of academic career and get your higher and go to college and uni. And I was quite close with the PE department at school, and because that actually got me in more than most of the teachers, because they kind of understood if you had a passion, and not just football. Those people who went to school who were into running and stuff like rugby, and they were trying to develop them as players and people as well. And it was Mr. Monkman, Mold Pete. He was the head of PE for Paisley Grammar, and he kind of helped me go towards. Well, he got in touch with the local council, and it was a kind of like local initiative to get people involved in sport, like kind of coaching badges and stuff like that, and get some work experience. So it wasn't just football he helped me get. It was like basketball, rugby, hockey, just all different things. Get working with kids initially, and so while I was, I think it was 6th year, I eventually got some of my badges, and I was doing like voluntary hours and stuff like that at like holiday camps, summer camps, after school classes in all different schools. So even while I was still technically, well, I was still in school, I was still going to primary schools and even high schools doing volleyball, basketball, just to kind of get that first kind of initial feel of like leading a group of kids, talking to kids, dealing with certain individuals and situations from a young age. And then from that, like I said to you, while I was with Dumbarton and working at McDonald's at the time, I was doing that as well. Well, so I was doing the after school session, lunchtime session, stuff like that, while I was at college too, starting my NQ sports coaching course at college. So that was kind of the early days, kind of finding my feet as a coach, as you say, just learning daft things like talking to parents as well, coaching kids, like I was saying, different situations. So it was a bit of a rude awakening for a young kid at 16, 17 to be leading kids, because you're still, like I say, a kid. But that was kind of where I learned the kind of basics of, like I say, coaching. It can relate to any sport, not just football.
Yeah. With doing that though, at like a young age, did that mean like you had to like? I'm taking it means you had to like mature really quickly because you were coaching kids and they were like reflecting the way you acted and things like that.
Well, that's it, definitely, because at the end of the day, I wasn't working for like a local amateur boys club or everything. You're working for an council, and you'd expect some sort of level of coach and person working for them. Because, like I said, initially it was a kind of wee program you were on. It was called the EYES program, so they put you on your badge and stuff like that. And if you only get put in these situations if they feel you're reliable enough and good enough, essentially. So, like, I like to think I proved myself. I think football helps me that way as well. I think between now, football's like now for kids coming through youth academy to where it was even back in 2008 when I was coming through, the kind of matureness and the kind of mental strength you need to gain from working with older people and working with older players. I think that kind of prepared me for dealing with difficult situations, because you've been dealing with guys who are, like, if I'm only 16-year-old and I'm playing with guys that are 30 odd and they're shouting you, not giving you dogs a goose, I was about to say there, but they're like giving you a bit of hard time to see if you can take it. That was kind of like, that helps you when you take it to different situations. Like if you're working with people who are a bit older than you, or if you're working with adults or dealing with parents, and then in turn, you kind of build your character while you are dealing with kids in certain situations as well. So I think, yourself, I think that age between like you're 16, 18, even you get up to 21, that's you kind of properly mature into an adult. But I think that, again, like you say, it was a massive bit of growth in terms of maturity and how to actually, because obviously, like I said, I was working at McDonald's, but at McDonald's, again, I had people that I was just taking the piss with, to be honest with you, and messing about with people who was just it was a good job, but like you weren't learning as much as you would in these kind of situations if it's like dealing with kids, planning sessions, organising programmes for a week. It was like more of a professional kind of way of working as well. So I definitely think that was a great starting point for myself in terms of where I was starting back there to where I am now, and hopefully going forward. So
yeah, 100%. Did you went to Love Sport and Fitness after that as part time, or was that like straight after that, or was that
no, that was that was about 4 years ago. That was during university, because I was ready for St Leisure initially about, like I said, 2008 to about 2012, and I left it for America and stuff like that. And then it was only 2018, 2019. I was during my kind of third year of university where I was kind of like fucking like more experience in working with sport and fitness kind of aspect. I went there, just like I say, you're working with, that was more dealing with people, how to get in a routine of like, if they're working a 9 to 5 job, or if they're dealing with kids, how can they still fit in their own time for themselves and look after themselves. And also there was a programme we done with like Hearts Football Club, Heart Wellington Football Club, where you go into their youth academy and you'd set up programmes to basically teach your young kids on the fringes of the first team who they get everything done for them, but they can't go home and cook a dinner, have to rely on their mum and dad. They can't go home and do a wash, and they can't. So it was kind of teaching these kind of young kids as well, life skills as well. So it was good. It was good to do that kind of part time while I was at university, while still playing at the same time, and also working in a pub at the same time while I was doing. But again, that was kind of good to get my foot in the door in terms of that type of work as well, because like I said, it's been predominantly coaching that I've done. But that was more of like kind of consulting kind of base work and one-on-one kind of stuff and planning presentations and like nutrition stuff like that as well. So again, that was a good spin off to different work. But again, I think it's helped me prepare for like interviews and stuff like that now, because a lot of stuff you do now for interviews is like presentations or kind of showcasing things. So again, it was good to kind of work around the kind of real world as well. And again, I think it's set me up to where I am right now.
Yeah, so you were kind of like a mentor to like people as well. So like like a leader as well to people. But the America thing, I'm quite curious to touch on that one, especially since a big passion behind America, to be honest. But what did you go over to do there? Like, what did you do over there?
So I went over basically. I hate using the word soccer, but it was a soccer scholarship. Basically, yeah. So, like I say, like when I left Dumbarton, I was like floating about kind of lower league Scotland football and junior football and stuff, and I was kind of losing my way a wee bit. And my dad, when he actually played in Hong Kong for 3 years, and my uncle, he coached in America when he was younger as well. So I was kind of always encouraged by them. If I had the chance to go and do something with football abroad, do it. And America, like you see yourself, I've always kind of liked America and just going to see it. And you always see it on TV, so you always kind of have that intrigue to go. And I think as a player as well, you always want to play abroad, or test yourself abroad as well. So I think that was probably the best option for me at the right time. And I think as well, touching on like my actual career, it was good to actually go to university there as well, learn a bit, do your bit of university work and play. So it's a great experience. My first proper experience of full-time football as well, where I was training every day. So it was a big step because I was 21. I wasn't too young, but at the same time, I remember like my dad dropped me off at the airport, and then going through security, I'm like, fuck, come on, I need to grow up now and kind of get myself together and realise that I'm actually on my own now, rather than, I don't know, go to my mum's and dad's for dinner and things like that. But it was good because you're basically going to start kind of new life a wee bit. And but I was lucky anyway because the team I went to had a few Scottish guys in it, a few guys from London and stuff like that as well. And where I went to a city called Des Moines, Iowa, right in the middle of America, probably. If you ever want to go to America, you also want to go to like your New York, Chicago's, LA's and stuff like that. So Iowa was a bit different for all kind of places, but it was kind of good in a way because it was kind of a wee bit like Glasgow in a sense. It was kind of, the weather wasn't always brilliant. When it was brilliant, it was good. But when it was shite as well. It was always snowing and stuff like that. So went over there, and I settled in pretty quickly, to be fair. Obviously, you go over these places, you do miss home to an extent, but I was lucky in the sense that I made a lot of good friends pretty quickly, settled in pretty quickly, and it was a good experience. Came home early when I lost my dad and my granddad within a couple of weeks. So,
sorry to hear that.
It's life, innit? So, it was one of the ones where, like, now I look back at it, I don't regret doing it at all. But if I had the chance to do it again, I would. Maybe because at the time I was there for 2.5 years at the time, and lost my granddad first, and I stayed over there. Felt horrible for missing the funeral and stuff like that, and then within like next I think it was 10 weeks later, when I was kind of under a lot of stress with like football and university at the time, and I worked because basically what happens is the season runs from August to December, and I think my granddad, I think it was early September he passed away, maybe late August even, and then it was late November my dad had his heart attack. But round about that time, I was pushing to like get a team for football and work on my university work, and it was quite stressful. And I got to the point where I made my team that was in, we made it to the national tournament and stuff like that. I made sure I was in the squad because I was kind of on the brinks. I was kind of falling out with the manager all the time, working out all the time with some of the Scottish boys. But I got myself on the team. We got in the national tournament down in Florida, so we made it down to Florida, and it was just like big fancy hotel, rooftop pool and all that. It was just like proper, but you think you'd be in America for things like that. And then to hear that news, having to come home was a bit brutal. We're back over again 6 months later to try it again, but it was just a wee bit too hard for me. Just maybe for my mum and stuff like that, family. But it was a good experience all in. But obviously when I came home, I tried to like kind of restart again. I was like 24 at the time I came home for good. So I had to restart again and kind of build up a lot of things, like, because in that period of coming home to where I kind of went back to uni here, I wasn't like hitting the drink or anything like that, but I was kind of like comfort eating quite a lot and going out with people I hadn't seen in years quite a lot as well. And you'd start seeing I wasn't getting as fit, I wasn't eating as well. It took its toll because I ended up coming back and playing at a level that if I worked a bit harder, could have played a bit higher level. But at the same time, at that kind of stage, you're a bit hard because obviously, I wouldn't say I was struggling, but you're trying to cope with grief, and you're trying to cope with make sure your mum's all right and your family's all right, and you're trying to catch up with pals as well. So I don't look back at it as a kind of huge sad story or negative. I just feel as if that's kind of part of my story and part of my life, if you see, because like I said, I'm kind of proud of the fact that I still managed to come back, go to uni here as well and get a degree, and still managed to play at a relatively alright level of football.
Yeah, exactly. You should be proud to be fair.
But like you say, it's just part of, I think everybody's got their own wee kind of journey. So that was just part of my journey the way I see it. And I'm glad it happened. Hopefully I can go back over and see my pals over there, because I've still got, every day I've got guys over in American guys that I talk to. They're saying me, like, I love the food over there. Brilliant. Like, all the stuff today. So I'm trying to go back over. Got a good mate, Tommy, there, who I went over in 2016 to his wedding. So I've not been over in a few years again to visit them. So I need to go back over and see a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like lifelong friends in that as well, to be honest with you. But you know, if you had before we get into like, you know, what you do now, if you had the opportunity to go over there full time, like nowadays, would you take the chance?
It'd have to be a right role.
Mhm.
Like I loved. If it was something that fit perfectly, because at the same time, I would like to test myself over there again. If it's a coach, well, it would be a coach, obviously, but I love the chance to go, and because I think for a coach especially, you know yourself, the resources and the kind of facilities over in America for sport are majorly different to what you've got here.
Mm.
And I think that'd be a chance to prove myself and kind of not only prove myself, but develop as a coach as well. And even again, come back here again, hopefully kind of build my way up as a coach still. But you have to take into consideration again, like, first and foremost, my girlfriend, how she got to take. If I tell her, by the way, I'm going to go to back over to America for the next 2-3 years, and she's got to think about things like that. I was lucky enough the first time round I didn't have a girlfriend, but I think if it was the right role for me, where it was where I was living was ideal, the role I was getting, then definitely I wouldn't just go over if it was a case of like a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people who go over for like do like coaching camp stuff like that. I'd actually want like a kind of full-time role if possible, but 100%, like it's something again I've always kind of wanted to do. Not just America, I still want to maybe go and test myself abroad one day again, because I feel like I've got a bit of unfinished business, as they say, in terms of working abroad and stuff like that. And I think again that's a bit of kind of character building and going out your comfort zone and stuff like that, to go over a different country and kind of test yourself and see what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. Where other countries would you go to? Like, is there any particular you're like, I would go to this place or this place, or is it just like depending on where the job arose?
I would love to. I would love to go to football wise. I like to go to Holland or Spain just to see how they work and how they approach and how they speak to their kids. I think the next part of that would be learning the language. Even Germany as well. I love to go to Germany and see what that's like football wise as well, because I think Germans have notoriously, Holland as well, just produce brilliant players and brilliant coaches. I think everyone, the other two places everyone wants to kind of go to would be like Australia or Canada or something like that. But one place I'd love to go to, I'd have to learn Portuguese, would be Brazil. I just think that's all. Again, being a football fan, Brazil's always kind of fascinated you, and how they produce their players and how they work and stuff like that. But again, I wouldn't mind if a role opportunity came up in let's say for instance, if it was like I don't know, a China or a Brazil, or just maybe an obscure country. I wouldn't mind. I consider that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, but like my dad, he was in Hong Kong for 3 years. So if it's something like that again, I think I'd like to do that, because if it goes ambitious ultimately down the line, but I think I wouldn't mind going out my comfort zone again to kind of see what I can do and then come back. Even if I go and do something that doesn't work out, I can still say I went, tried it, and take away something from that, any mistakes that I make or anything like that, and then build on from there. Because I think if you're just going to do the same old, stay in Scotland, try and build me up that way, there's loads of people within football who are doing the same. I think nowadays you need to be a wee bit different, a wee bit of kind of backstory to you, show that you can go out your comfort zone, show you can do something a bit different, because everyone's doing, well, not everyone, because people get different kind of stories, like I say, but I like to think if you can show you a bit something different, it shows you can think outside the box and kind of show different kind of aspects to your personality and your tools to your trade, if you say. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for anyway, down the line.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a swarming market as well. It's like being involved in social media, and that so many people, you know, social media, football, the whole dream lifestyle, everybody does it now. When I was a little bit younger, not a lot of people did do that. Like you didn't do it. You, as you were saying, you left school, degrees, and then went off and got some like academical 9 to 5. You probably, so again, you know, emphasized to like I do every week. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, good for you. But it's a hard lifestyle, you know what I mean? And then staying in the same place, you know, starting a family and all that sort of stuff. But I think the opportunity for sport in where was that country I was spoken to someone about? Is it Slovakia? I think that's what they said.
Slovakia.
Yeah,
Aye.
I'm sure that's what they said. I can't remember who said that, to be honest. I think it was somebody that I don't know if this episode is going to be before it or after it, so I don't want to say. I'll tell you after the podcast, but I don't want to say the guy's name. But anyway, he was saying it. He works with Celtic. That's a teaser. He said that he was
Alright.
like to go out there due to like there was somebody's story or something like that. Some guy went out there and exploded over there, went really big or something along those lines. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, but anyway, what you do now, Glasgow Wellington Football Club, you're the chairman. Now,
Aye.
what
Oh,
do
there
you
you
do
go,
as a
mate.
chairman? No, it's what do you do as a chairman? Like, what does a chairman actually do in a football club? I'm quite curious.
Quite a lot, to be honest with you. You mean like you want to do it all if you don't enjoy it, but it's a lot of work. It was something that me and my three mates, Ryan, Scott, and Adam, kind of started during. Well, we started it right at the beginning of the first lockdown, thinking COVID was only going to last a couple of months, but we were proved wrong with that one. So basically, myself, I was at East Stirling at the time, get released just before lockdown. So I was a bit of kind of crossroads myself in football. My mate Scott Murphy, he wasn't really playing with anyone at the time. I think he was within the Lowland League at the time, get released and was playing amateur. And my other two mates, Scott and Ryan, were kind of more involved, kind of playing amateur and going watching either St Mirren or Rangers, respectively. And we kind of always mentioned it in terms of if we meet up for a pint on Saturday night and we're talking about football and we slagging off our managers or teammates saying, he's shite, he doesn't know what he's doing, or whatever, and we're just like, right, don't worry, one day we'll show how it's done. And then it was over a case of a couple of days. I thought, right, I kind of fancy this. The more I thought about it, it was an idea in my head, and just it was always in my head. If we're going to do this, how we're going to do it, what we're going to name the team, how we're going to work it. And so I basically kind of made the name up, kind of in my head, through a badge, what the badge would look like, and what the strips and stuff would look like. And then I applied the team into a league and stuff like that already, kind of set it up. And then I said to my mates, right, he's about to be part of this. I don't know. If he's don't, it's fine. Because I knew if I said to them, listen, guys, we'll start a team called Glasgow Wellington, where the Duke of Wellington statue with his cornets, he'd be like that, right? And they'd bother me, kind of thing. But to be fair to them, I didn't just pick the three boys of all my mates because they were my best mates, whatever, but I was kind of methodical in a way because my mate Ryan, he's works for the property at Fiscal now. He was got a degree in law, smart boy. Scott Murphy, club treasurer, he runs a deluxe shop in Glasgow as well, quite high up, stuff like that, quite business savvy, good business acumen, and he's quite good switched on stuff like that as well with social media too. He does a club social media, and Adam as well, who runs a pub in Shawlands, and myself. So it's four boys who are kind of switched on to how to run things, not only as a kind of sport and football aspect, but a business aspect too. So I thought the four of you will work well together. And I think as well as mates, you can tell people, well, as your mates, you can tell them, well, you can disagree with them quite a lot, and it doesn't get took to heart pretty well. So I thought four of us work well together. So we started off the team. And then I think initially we had to think of ways like how we're going to get money at the club now, because it's all right saying we've got to put a bit of money into it, because if initially you've got to pay like league fees and buy strips and equipment, stuff like that as well. So what do you think outside the box? Straight off the bat, we bought a set of like black strips for Joma with no badge, no sponsors on, just so we had them if it was either for training kit or strips, had to wear them. But then I got in touch with a guy I know who had just started his own kind of like sports brand, and telling him to do like bespoke and vector kind of strips. I said to him, listen, mate, I just want kind of Glasgow on a strip. And I said, if you can try getting a map on it, the badge obviously being the Duke of Wellington, the cone, and then something else we bit quirky. And then we managed to get the kind of city-inspired strips, and luckily for us, they went viral off Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that. We've always sold like over 1,000 strips worldwide, which is mad. Like, we spoke to, after we'd done it, we actually spoke to a guy from Joma, who was like the head of Joma for Scotland. He said, we compare it to Partick Thistle, they sold 1,200, we've sold 1,000, so we're only 200 strips short of a well-known Glasgow professional team, do you know what I mean? So at the same time as well, we had a chance to raise a bit of money for charity through selling the kits as well. So we made a wee bit of money to give us a wee bit of cushion for starting out. We also found a sponsor who was willing to sponsor the team for the season, and then at the same time we raised money for NHS and also Glasgow's Children's Hospitals charity as well. So all worked pretty well. We get a bit lucky, obviously, in terms of what we try to do, but at the same time, I think if you get a wee idea, like, you think outside the box and people can relate to it, because that's one thing I think as well. People relate to, obviously, I can tell by your accent, you're not from Glasgow yourself, mate, but
No.
but I think most people from Glaswegians, as soon as they say they go in the heat and something about Glasgow, they can relate to it. I think that's why it's done as well as it did, and I think that's what helped us get our name out there. But then from that, it was then kind of establishing what we're trying to do as a football team, actual club presence and stuff like that, and image of what we're trying to do. So we've came across as quite an inclusive club in terms of not just guys who love football. We've got like an FFIT team, which gives guys who have different issues, if it's mental health, weight loss, all that kind of thing. Gave guys like that a bit of platform back into football as well, along with kind of having ambitions of pushing the club into the kind of senior pyramid, Scottish football pyramid. So that's a kind of ambition itself. We've got a lot of good players now. We've got 3 teams as well as grew to the other 100 players at the club, which we only thought we'd only have 1 team to start, but 20 players at the club. So, and we're hoping to next few months have like SFA licensing stuff like that as well done. Hopefully have a couple more teams, and then next for us would hopefully a wee kind of not a stadium, but a wee kind of hub or a pitch where we can maybe have our own place to play and stuff like that, rather than having to rent out local authority parts within Glasgow, council parts, because there's sharing needs and stuff like that as well. But it'd be good just to have all the players, all the club training at one bit and playing at one bit. That's next for us. But as a chairman, you've got to kind of go oversee that, make sure everything's kind of not running smoothly, but running anyway. Make sure people are happy and there's no issues. I think as well, even lucky with the people that were brought into the club, because there's not been any issues in terms of people being, excuse my French again, arseholes or anything like that. There's been bad eggs. There's been no deal like that every day at the club. If there's been any issues, we've dealt with it. If there's been people right out being daft or people arguing, we've dealt with it there and then. We've dealt with it fairly. Nobody's said that's not fair, whatever. I've not been happy with it. So we've been lucky that way. It's just basically overseeing daft things like bookings, make sure people are turning up. If there's an issue, why not turn up? Speaking to them, just saying, listen, you're all right. Why not been there a couple of weeks? Speaking to them. And then it's a constant daily thing. Like now, I'm getting notifications for the club group chat now. We just be daft booking stuff. I've got train the night. Hopefully, it's on because it's a storm. But we're just. It's a daily thing, but you do it because you enjoy it as well. If it ends up being what we want it to be, brilliant. If no, if it's still the way it is in 10 years' time, we've still got three teams with 100 players. I'd be happy with that in 10 years' time to last that, if it stands the test of time. But so far so good. We didn't think it'd be going as good as it is so far.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. Well done, man. The thing as well is that's great. Like, you know, especially the numbers you just said, that's mental. When you started that up though, I know you're saying you weren't expecting it to sell, 1,000 worldwide, but in the back of your head, were you like, we can sell that much, we can sell more? Like, there was that, I know how big it can be, but obviously at the end of the day, reality kind of hits in. You're like, I don't know if we can do that first out type thing.
I thought, like I said, I think the kind of idea behind what we try to do, especially with strips, was relate to people. So I thought we'd at least get a reaction anyway, and we get spoke about. Did I think we'd sell 1,000 kits worldwide? Probably not, no in the first year anyway, but I think it has the power of social media, because I think people share it, people retweet it. Let's get content seed, and then word of mouth as well. We kind of counted on that, but maybe not to the extent, because at first it's kind of died down now, obviously, because you're talking about right in the beginning of lockdown this all happened, and it just kind of blew up within a couple of days. We ended up being on a couple of different, well, I don't know if you've seen Open Goal, Cy Ferry, he wore one of the tops on one of his shows for us as well. That helped us blow up. I think he wore it in a Kieran Tierney's programme, that's like half a million views. So like things like that helped, obviously. And then, like I say, we knew with what we're trying to go, we're kind of go that kind of like Glasgow kind of, people say Gallus or whatever, but it's that kind of like Glasgow kind of spirit where our humour, even that's the kind of stuff we try and aim with our social media and stuff like that, because it always gets a reaction, whether good or bad, it always gets a reaction. So we knew again that we'd get some sort of reaction and we'd be eye-catching. To an initial extent, probably not, because again, within the first week or so, we couldn't believe it was happening at the first time. But I think as well, we've dealt with it well. Like, we could have easily kind of let it get to our heads and think, we're going to be this, going to be that. And I be excited with a few things, but I think, again, like, we kind of used that kind of popularity for a bit of responsibility. Right, again, because we could have said, we'll just keep all the money that I've made through the strips, but most of the money went to charity as well. So we're kind of proud of that, especially with the two charities. Like I say, it's NHS. My girlfriend's a nurse. My Watson's girlfriend was a nurse as well. My mum works in the NHS too. And the children's charity, hospitals charity, Scott Murphy had a wee brother, had a wee episode within the hospital there too. So it was all stuff, again, like we say, we can kind of be proud of it, and I think we've used it well as well. Now the way we see it is we've got a bit of a kind of platform now, because we're still in our first season as a club, and we've got like a good few thousand followers on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is. So now, again, we've got to use that as a platform now to kind of kick on in the right way as well. It's not just kind of like, look at us, we're doing this. We kind of want to help people, like I say, using sport as a tool. Want to use football as a tool for people to, if it's dealing with their issues, if it's mental health, if it's weight loss, if it's anything at all. We want to have people feel like they can come down to us, not just play football. We want to come down and meet people as well, if it's meeting new friends and just kind of being part of something special. Because I think, again, that's been part of the success of the team so far, because a lot of them, again, not just the fact they've never played football, but a lot of them have been part of a team before. Have they been in a group chat of like 20, 30 people when they've got somebody they can talk to every day, which is massive this day and age. It's massive if you go like, what if you get somebody you can talk to every day. Because I've been there myself, and don't be you Kyle, but you've always been days you just feel lonely and nobody wants to talk to you. But I feel like I spoke to a few guys individually in the club who they feel that's helped them massively. Like I say as well, like we've got a lot of good links and contacts at the club with different charities and initiatives where we can help players too. Like recently we had one with Back On Side, we had a night with guys just coming to be checking, and it was nothing too serious. It just we had a wee kind of night at our kind of sponsored pub. They put a bit of food on for us, and then Back On Side came in. Libby for Back On Side came in with a couple of patrons as well, told their stories. And that helped some of us open up, and it helped the guys feel better. And we also got a couple of guys we bit counselling out of it as well. And I think as well it's helped players see, and from us, like, when you tell somebody like counselling, they're going to see therapists, you just think, don't know if I want to do that. But once you see, it's not a case of going to a doctor's office or anything like that. It could be a case of just going to meet somebody for a coffee, or meet somebody at a Starbucks or something like that, or McDonald's even, that it's just good that we feel that we can provide that kind of link and it can be a bit of help as well for some of the players that have done so far too. So all that crammed in, it's been brilliant so far. So hopefully we can use all that as a kind of platform, what we've got so far, and just expand it to obviously grow the club. But if more people can help in some way, the better too.
Yeah, 100%. And it's it's funny you said the mental health thing, because like I mentioned to you before about how there's like a whole mental health football coaching link. There's like, I don't quite understand the link itself, because it was one of the things that like got me into being because as people know, you won't know yourself, like I'm a fan of like football, the game, not a team, not any team necessarily. I'll go and watch. For example, I've been to watch like Scotland, Man United, Rangers, Celtic, all those sorts of teams. Just like any like not like bigger teams necessarily, because as you know, like your mates want to go and see that, so you go and see whatever they want to go and see, really. But it was only like being around the fans, and it's probably common sense to anybody that's been it. But I was only a football fan for like the last 27. I'm on my 27 now, but 3-4 years really, and the when you're in the crowds, the atmosphere and that, when you're around people, you literally, because I'll admit I've had lonely times, and I don't really want to talk too much about lonely times and times where you're like, why am I here, and all sort of stuff. And then when you're at that type of ground, you do feel like you're like, these guys don't even know me, and you've got your arm around you, and obviously pre-COVID and that, they've got your arm around you and going absolutely crazy and stuff. It's crazy. But what would you say is like, in your opinion, what would you say is like one of the biggest reasons why, or maybe a couple, because one's maybe a bit hard to say, a couple of reasons why like mental health and football are so widely linked, if you can think of a couple? I think
first and foremost, playing the game, it can make you feel brilliant, but it can make you feel so low as well. Like, I think probably the first time, because I think when you're growing up, and this might sound a bit naive or even a bit silly, but when you're growing up, you don't really consider your mental health, you don't really think about it. You don't really think about it. You just feel like you can't be bothered, that you don't realise that no, you've got a problem. You don't really think of mental health. You just think, I just feel shite sometimes, do you know what I mean? I think the first time I think obviously the way I see it now, right? If I win a game at the weekend, I'm buzzing, I'm loving it. But when you lose, it can ruin your weekend sometimes. But I think that's just me personally. But I wouldn't say it's like impacting me too much. But I think the biggest link is basically if you're going to try to make a career at it, and then maybe realise there's no way to work out, it's then having that kind of like panic initially, like what you got to do the rest of your life. And then the way I learned it was the fact that you can kind of still enjoy football, use it as a tool, like I mentioned before, that it doesn't need to be all and end all, but it can still mean a lot to you. I think, again, the way I see it now is, mate, again, like I mentioned with Glasgow Wellington, use it as a tool to bring people back from any other places that they feel like. Like, again, I mentioned back on side there last week, in the meeting, like I made a statement where football saved my life a wee bit, because not that I was ever had any bad thoughts or anything like that, but I was, like, playing to yourself, we've all been kind of lonely places, I had lonely thoughts. So I try and use it as something that would keep me going and then keep me motivated for things. And I think, like you say, you talk about you can be in a stadium, people talking to them, stuff like that. You can be part of something, and that gives you a bit of purpose, do you know? So I think, again, that's what football gives you. If it's, like you say, I'm the same as you, like, apart from the team I follow, I'm not say it on this because I get dogs abuse, but apart from the team I follow, right, I've not really got a team as such. I watch Scotland, obviously, and hope they do well. But, like, I can go to a game of football, like you say, and just enjoy the experience, I prefer watching individual players and seeing how they get on personally rather than teams. Sometimes I like watching guys, seeing how they develop as players and the individual stories you win a game of football and just the experience as well. But like you say, I think football, the thing I've always said is, well, football will always be there for you. Do you know what I mean? You'll build relationships with girls, guys, friends, family, and one day they'll pass away, they'll go away, but that's what my link to football is. Football's always there for you, whether it's you go and play or it's on the telly or there's always football's always there, and that's what's kind of got me through some things. And it's always a tool for improvement as well. Like I said, it's a tool to give people a purpose. It's a tool to bring people into a walk of life or a group of guys or a group of women, as well. So, like you say, football's always there for me, and that's the way I see it. And I think I'll probably use my dad as the biggest influence in that, because he was football daft as well, so I would probably tell you that. It's just, I mean, I'm just trying to think of a proper sentence here to give you, mate, but I'm like I said, it's just more of it's a tool, like I keep saying, it's a tool for getting me anyway into feeling, if I'm feeling no great, I won't watch a football, or I'll go to a group chat, have a bit of banter with the boys, and then you can help you forget about things like that. I think it is just like you talk about as well, like I just said, it's being part of something and being kind of, it's the atmosphere, it's the kind of story of winning the games, the tension, it's the passion, everything involved in it. I love it, and I always get a part of me anyway, football. So
yeah. And then again, I'm the exact same. I'm always even when you go, it's funny when you said Spain and stuff like that. I remember when we were going when I was younger. I can't remember where I went to in Spain, to be honest, because it was that long ago. But again, only really the past 3 or 4 years. But prior to that, I used to play rugby, and when we went over to different countries, and I used to see, you're on holiday, like, Mum, I want to go and play, want to go and mess about with, and you play a rugby with a bunch of local people that just love the Scottish accent, and the camaraderie and stuff like that genuinely made you forget you were on holiday. You just thought you were, apart from the fact that it was extremely hot, and that's the only other thing. But you did genuinely forget. I think it's the aspect of being in a team as well, and meeting new people.
Like you say, sorry, but like you say, it's for 90 minutes that you can forget everything. You can just focus on the game. You just focus, on running about, focus on the fact that you can't breathe sometimes if you're unfit. But you're like you say, I think it gives you that kind of free mind for an hour or so, whatever it is, to forget about quite a lot of things, and you feel better for it. Do you know what I mean? You do. And I think you can contribute that to not just football, rugby. You can go around, go to the gym. Just, it's important to always give you that kind of release, and that's why you probably say you're saying, it helps you forget all things as well in a good way. So, but I totally agree with that, mate.
Yeah, it's the whole passing time factor. It's would you rather pass time by as I'll make fun of myself here, this is not my room, obviously I don't have a mirror like that and stuff, so there's a bed there, and it's would you rather sleep and sit down for a couple of hours, or would you rather go out and be physically active, where that being not even necessarily football is something. If you go to the gym, you have training partners, or if you hill walking is a great one, to be honest with you. You literally have to be concentrating on hockey. Any sort of sport, I would personally say that it's crazy how again, it's, I said, sport and football and mental health is linked, but also sport itself around that and mental health is a huge kind of clang, I sometimes say, between mental health and being fit, and that there is that type of thing as well. You're very right in that one, to be fair. But before I get on, before we end up finishing and stuff like that, and I don't mention this, you're also the community development coach for St Mirren, right? But before I ask you a question about that, how do you manage your time between being a chairman, being a community development coach, and then family, and like you're saying, girlfriends? Obviously you have, you better take her out or she'll shout at you and all that sort of stuff. It's that type of thing. I hear that all the time from boys. I need to treat her right and stuff. So how do you manage? That's a lot to do. How do you manage your time?
It's tough, especially with the missus. Don't get me wrong, like you say, it's all stuff that I enjoy, which makes it easier. If you were oh no, I'm working at the stadium and you're like, can't ball, then that's what makes it harder. But you just have to find a way about it. I think routine's massive in it. If you can, I've got me to-do lists and stuff like that, or in my house, I just make sure if it's every other day, I make sure I do my to-do list, make sure I've got a lot of things, and just make sure I've got a bit of a routine. I'm in constant contact with my girlfriend as well. So if anything you need to do, then she'll let me know if I forget. But it's just always make sure you get time for not just all these things, but all your work and your family, but time for yourself as well. Like I said, it helps that you enjoy it, but sometimes you just need to chill it. And it's important to do that. I think it's like not just your football, but it's just watching telly for half an hour sometimes and watching something, chilling it. But again, I just try and keep some sort of wee mini schedule or a wee mini kind of, no diary as such, but I've got a calendar up there I know I've got today, and I must always kind of just need to keep track of what you're doing. It's hard when you got to do so much. Like you say, I could be like the night I'm sure I'll be working after this afternoon, meeting girlfriend for dinner, and then go to coaching after that with Glasgow Wellington. So as long as you just need to keep in top of it and make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't, then just end up being a mess. But I think that comes down to, again, early things you learn as a kid. If it's coaching with emphasis leisure, that you've organised and you've planned things and skills that you pick up, and it doesn't just apply to work; it applies to your real life too. So it's stuff that it's skills that, again, that you've learnt through years, and it's not just by chance that everything's happening at a certain time. Everything's all planned out. So as long as you've got the kind of, I guess it's a sense of discipline as well. If you can make sure you've got certain times and set times for people and value the times as well. Like, I can't just go with my girlfriend for the sake of it. I'm going to go make sure she feels that she's getting her time away from her work, because like I say, she's a nurse. She works crazy hours and crazy environments with difficult patients sometimes, so things like that. You've got to make time for yourself and other people, and you get that kind of fulfillment. You can enjoy it, and again, if it's all working well, then you don't mind being busy sometimes, because again, you got a purpose as well. Like you say, you'd rather be doing all this rather than sit in your bed all day or lying watching Netflix all day. Do you know what I mean? So no, it's all enjoy it as long as you plan it and you're making time for people, and it doesn't affect anyone else. So
yeah, and as before we get into your community coach as well, the thing, people, you have to remember, when you are doing busy as much, and like you're saying, spending time and exactly taking her out today, and then working and then busy at night, but it's you time as well. Like, you have to, it's like, I call it mind development time. It's like, it's a weird technical way, but when you're involved in doing so much stuff, you have to remember that, like, there's time where you doing, like, for it, I'll give you a great example. Is like, after I've done, I think I'm training at like 5:30 or something, one of the boys tonight. So but after we've done training, I'll sit in the car with the shake. It sounds weird, but like, I'm sure you'll get it, in like complete darkness, and then just think about everything that's happened today, stuff that can happen tomorrow, and then stuff you've got planned to just develop things every single day. I'm sure you have time, like that as well. This thing.
I just, like I say, like, I'll sit, if it's like in the morning, and in the night I'll like write down things, and I know I'll forget things quite a lot. As my girlfriend, I can tell you, but I'll write down everything that I need to do that day, make sure I just tick it off as the day goes along. And then at night time, I'll just think, like you say, I'll just think about things. Did it go well? What have I still to do? Can I manage something better? Like you say, it's time to kind of reflect sometimes. And then you learn from the things. You learn how you can deal with things. You learn how you can manage things. You learn how you approach things. And it's all part of a continuous development of yourself in it. So, and again, I think that kind of helps if you're always ticking along, you always got a purpose, you're always doing something, then it kind of helps you and other people as well, rather than feeling like you've not got a purpose, you're not getting anything to do. Do you know what I mean? So, definitely, mate.
Exactly. Now, to finish off, your job with you do with St. Mirren, your community coach, do you want to explain, like, what exactly, I'm not community coach, but like, do you want to explain exactly what you do and things like that?
Well, it ranges from not just coaching kids. You can end up, like, tomorrow morning I'm doing the walking football with them. That's with guys from like 50-year-old to 70, even 80-year-old guys, who things like that. So you're working for a wide range of guys and girls, and it's brilliant. Obviously, it's a bit different from what I do long term. I still do a bit of academy work with St Mirren too, but my focus is on the community stuff. So initially when I started with St Mirren, it was back in the summer there. It was just like the summer camps we were doing. Initially just working on programmes, delivering session every day, different ages of kids. You've always got your kind of like mini kickers from like kids from 2-3-year-old right up till kids are like 12, 13, 14 sometimes. So you're adapting to different age groups there as well. And over 6 weeks of summer, it can be quite a drag in the body as well. So, but again, it was the first day I've worked with a kind of like professional club, so to speak, in terms of coaching. Area coaching I've done has been like I say, through different council authorities or stuff like that. So it's been good to work with in and around the football club, because you're not just working with the kids, you're working with people, you're working with the chairman of the club, you're working with St Mirren manager Jim Goodwin, sometimes you're working with Gail Brannigan, who's the chief executive of the charity foundation as well, and Michael Campbell, who's the development officer for St Mirren. So you're building relationships with different people, and again, it kind of tests you how to react to different people. It tests you how to like approach different people. Like for instance, I'm going to talk to Jim Goodwin, St Mirren manager, completely different. I'm going to talk to a 5-year-old child. Do you know what I mean? So keep seeing your toes. But again, touching on actual community and actual work that I do, it's rewarding as well. Especially you do things like the FFIT, you're seeing guys hit the targets they have weight loss wise, meeting people. Even when you just see someone they come in, even I'm just talking about FFIT, walking football, guys who 40, 50-year-old who are quite quiet within themselves the first couple of weeks. Now they're all talking to each other, they're all get made pals. After each game, they go for a coffee and a few biscuits up in the stadium bar and stuff like that. So it's rewarding seeing development people like that, and they feel part of it as well. Quite relative to what I talk about Glasgow Wellington. Again, that's football, using that as a tool to bring people together and develop people. But the role itself has been brilliant. Long term, I want to like work more than specifically kind of like football environment in terms of always community, in terms of like academy kind of stuff. But if I was to be stuck in this kind of role rest of my life, it'd be good as well. Because again, it's very rewarding, and it's a good place to work. They're all good guys and good girls at St Mirren. Other people, even people from what the reception to staff, the people working the kind of admin and stuff like that as well. They're all good people. So no, it's been a very enjoyable role so far.
Good, yeah. And to finish off on a positive note, as long as everything you've said as well, is that say there's somebody that's considering getting into football, like playing, or even coaching or something like that, but they're nervous because like they've got like a 9-to-5 type thing, so they're like, it's quite easy, I can just like sit and doing specifically any, I don't want to really compare it to a certain job, to be honest, but like they're doing any 9-to-5 type job, and like, but I really want to get into coaching and football and that. What advice do you have to somebody that wants to do that?
I think first and foremost, you need to ask themselves, is it something they actually want to put time into? Because it's all right if, like you say, if they enjoy watching football, do they really? They need to be honest with themselves. It's good, obviously. We're talking about giving people purposes and giving people the kind of platform to do what they want to try and do, but they need to be serious with themselves and say, look, am I going to do this properly? Am I going to put time and commitment and effort in? If they do, then there's plenty of kind of options out there. There's SFA have got a lot of kind of like coaching pathways, education pathways to kind of start and give them, even if they want to step into like any jobs, so to speak, or voluntary roles, because you need to kind of prove yourself first. Like there's loads of kind of resources out there they can learn if they fancy doing it. But if it's something I've always wanted to do, just try it and see how you go on. There's no harm in going and trying something that you think you fancy. If you dip your toe in it, you don't like it, so what? You tried it, good on you. Then if it's something doesn't work out, you're still working away, you've still got a house to live in and stuff like that. You can go and try something else. Just don't be scared to try. You're on this planet once, why not go and try something new? And again, if it doesn't work out, be proud of the fact that you tried it. If it does work out, brilliant. if it does work out, then you've got something you can build on. You've got something that you can develop into. And like you say, it can be something. It can be a chance that you take that can take you away from your 9 to 5 job. It maybe like you say, and it can develop you as a person too. Do you know what I mean? It's about character building. It's about testing yourself. It's about seeing how you can influence other people as well. And that's a good thing about football and coaching. Like I said, you're not just doing it for yourself. You're doing it to help others, and not to help them, develop them. And that's kind of rewarding in its way that you can have some sort of positive impact on somebody as well. So it's easy to say somebody just to go and do it, but it's like taking a chance of, again, I mentioned, like, come out your comfort zone and just go for it. And then if it doesn't work out, so be it, you tried it, good on you. Because a lot of people, like you say, will just stay to the 9 to 5 job, they comfy working a certain job and never are testing themselves. But if you can be the person who wants to go and try it, go and test yourself, then brilliant, good on you, regardless of what's up or not.
Yeah. What I do like to do though is get people, if it's all right with you, get people on social media, as in yourself, to just in case anybody wants to follow along, but as well as I'm sure people might want some advice as in what you've said, and if they want to even get involved with your football club, want to come join it, or anything along those lines, what would you do? Do you have social media that I would be able to put in the bio and things like that?
Yeah, so obviously myself, Curtis Rose, Twitter, Insta, Facebook. If it's Glasgow Wellington, you fancy coming down, Glasgow Wellington on Facebook, and it's Glasgow Dukes on Twitter and Facebook. Just give us a message. We're actually recruiting for loads of players and coaches now. Again, not just, it doesn't need to be amateur, it could be FF15, come down, have a kick about with guys, having a bit of fun, stuff like that as well. So we try to give the platform, we kind of break down the barriers to people who want to get involved. So definitely room and space for people anyway, but try and not limit it to anyone. We try and be inclusive as much as we can. So anyone who fancies it, anyone who wants to get involved and just be part of something, Glasgow Wellington's there for them if they fancy it as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, man. And thank everybody as well. It's I appreciate every comment, subscribe, and things like that. As I was talking to Curtis there, I was getting notifications and subscribe. It's mental. It's, as I'm sure you know as well, when you see something that you're working really hard on growing, it's crazy, and you can only go up from here, and everything yourself as well. So again, thank you very much for your time. Thanks everybody for watching. Comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Thank you again, Curtis.
Cheers, Kyle, mate. Thank you.
You've been listening to Inkylesconvo.